What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of our weekly podcast. Andrew's over there. I'm right here. As you'll notice, no Jacob. His schedule for work is weird right now, so we're working on it. You might see a change coming, and that's all I'll say about that. So do what you will with that information. But yeah, Andrew, we got a good one for you for the listeners tonight.
We
Before we
do.
jump into that, how are you feeling tonight? How are we doing?
I'm doing well. Just got my workout done for the day.
Give me a
I
flex. Let's see it.
oh yeah.
All right, look at
Although it
that.
was
Yes.
it's the workout that you can't see from the outside. I mean you can, but it's
Ooh,
more
cardio.
cardio fitness, cardiovascular fitness.
That's good. That's
That's
good.
very important. But I took it light yesterday since I played volleyball on Tuesday night, and I think I rolled my ankle a little bit.
Oh,
So I woke up on Wednesday and it was not fun. Sports are fun, very, very fun, but once
yeah.
you get to like they're almost 30, your
Getting old is
body,
not fun.
yeah, you're getting old is not fun. Especially, thankfully, I'm at the age now where I am still, there are players active that are the same age as me. Although, if you look to this weekend, there's plenty of quarterbacks out there that are far younger than me that are going to be competing. But at least I'm younger than the coaches. So I'm going to
That
hang my
is
head on
true.
that. Younger
That
than
is
the
true.
coach.
You're gonna transition more quickly than you think into
Oh,
older than
absolutely.
the players, younger than the coaches.
Yeah.
Pretty
I'll
soon
be
there'll
younger
be
than the
coaches
owner.
your age. Yeah, okay, yeah. That's another step too, younger than the owner. Unless you're the Jets and the owner's kid
No,
runs the franchise and he's like 13 years old.
that's true. Then it's a me.
Um, but yeah, okay, volleyball. Know your pain because I also played volleyball and
Mm.
my ankles have never been the same since I played.
Yeah.
Because it's a dangerous sport, I tell you. A lot of rolled ankles.
Yeah, it's especially the surface. It's not slippery, but it's not great. The
Right.
rec center where we play isn't. It hasn't have the greatest court. I'm not
True.
gonna make excuses, but yeah, I'd like to think that the floor, the surface, had some effect on it.
For
But
sure.
Josh, I know you went to the gym today too. What'd you work on?
I did. Today, so I like to do a PPL style
PPL.
program, which is push pull legs.
Ooh, okay.
It's just an easy way for me to break up my workouts. That way I don't have to like think about what I want to work on that day. I just
Mm,
do pick one of those and do it. So today was push. So chest, shoulders, and triceps.
okay.
So
There
yeah,
we
it was
go.
good little workout. Felt good about it. I did. Okay, we're gonna turn this. Is this episode a workout podcast now?
I mean, we're gonna work some things out on this podcast,
That is
so
true. Last thing I'll say is I switched up a little bit of what I did today. I went heavier for less reps.
yep.
So we'll
Yep, you
see
want
how
that
I feel
gain.
tomorrow. I'm thinking I'll be sore. I'm hoping I'll be
Mm,
sore because that means I was doing the right thing. Um,
yep.
but yeah, that was my new strategy today.
Boom. I like it. Just go. It's like when you're in Sorare, you just go up a scarcity. Just do it,
Yeah,
see
yeah.
how it feels.
Once you stop getting sore from limited, then you go up
Yep.
to rare.
Yeah, go up to rare, baby.
And then
Progress.
your bank account might be sore, but
Yep. You know what's on you know what's beyond unique?
no, I don't. What's beyond
Having your
unique?
own team. Like a real team.
Oh.
Go Ryan Reynolds on them.
I
I mean, for
like
real.
that.
Like
Yeah.
if you think
Yeah,
about it, that is the level beyond unique.
that
And
is true.
I feel like the jump between owning a unique SoRare team, at least back in the day when SoRare was in its heyday, to owning a unique club, then making that jump to maybe like owning a second Bundesliga or, a lower, that's probably not that far off, honestly.
No, probably not.
You don't have to pay him anything. You just pay SoRare.
That's true. That is true. That is true. Maybe we can buy a team one day.
That would be sick. That'd be sick.
But anyway, I accidentally wore the sweatshirt. But it is somewhat fitting for what we're
It
going to talk
is.
about today. And what we're talking about probably applies mostly to baseball, but in
Yep.
a way it applies to all the sports. Um, we're going to talk about what do you do in the off season? That's a challenge that we have not only had to overcome in So Rare, but also as a
Mhm.
podcast. You'll notice we talk about the NBA when we're in the off season for baseball. Um, but what do you do with or in Sorare MLB in the off season? Um, Andrew, you posed the question. Do you have an answer to the question?
Yeah. I mean, well, getting your team, I feel like it's the colloquial wisdom of fantasy football is your league is won on draft day. So in So Rare, there is I mean, with the new advent of early release cards, and we're gonna have that, I think almost 38 days away now, there is a bit of a draft for Sorare MLB, but unlike other fantasy leagues, we have so many keepers. I'm looking at my own gallery. I have 156 limited keepers from last year. That
Sheesh.
is a lot of cards. And honestly, it's very easy to find yourself in a position where, honestly, even if you have a couple dozen cards, that is easily more than you can field in even multiple lineups. So the first thing I think that you should do is, well, one, look to see which cards you do not want to keep into next year, whether they're a player that you think is just getting up there in age, maybe they got traded, but whatever reason, you don't want them on your roster. And I think a lot of people make the mistake of trying to exit these players in October, September, and you'll
Mhm.
you'll often find that the price you get for that card is a lot less than if you just would have waited till March and tried the same thing. So the first step I always recommend to people is use the list feature on Sorare and build what I call my selling list of players that I want to sell right when the market opens, right when the activity goes. You don't want to be there on that day thinking you're asking yourself this question. If you do it now, you'll be ahead of everyone else and you'll kind of realize what pieces you want to part with. Um, Josh, like looking at your own gallery, do you think like does that apply to you?
Yeah. When you brought up the question to me originally before we started recording, my first thought was I don't do anything in the Sorare
Mm,
MLB offseason. And now that I think about it more, it's not 100% true. I've clicked on Sorare MLB a couple of times, I would say, since the end of the season in October. Um, but it 100% applies to me because there are cards that I almost forgot about that I either won or bought last year that I don't necessarily know if I want to bring into the new season with me. Um, so I think it definitely applies to me. I'm going to probably start listing some of these cards for sale soon.
yeah,
It's kind of finding the right balance. You want to list them close enough to the season that people will
yep.
buy them because they're looking for cards to buy for the season, but also not too close because you know that new season cards will come out and eventually drop the price of your old season card. So I think now is actually a great time to probably at least look into listing some of those cards if you're not actually going to do so yet.
And even if you have a smaller gallery, one I think of the most obvious like sources of this that I think people overlook. And again, I myself am not personally against having two cards of the same player, but I try to avoid it unless that player is someone very special. But if you think back to your own gallery, you might have had someone for an in-season competition that you had a classic version of. Now come March, they're both going to be classic unless it's a very very special player or someone that you care about. I would sell pick the card that has lower XP, sell that one and clean house that way. Even if you don't have pieces that you don't feel like fit anymore, getting rid of duplicates, I think, is one of the lowest hanging fruits of any gallery in terms of
Right.
selling off pieces so you can actually build more. Um, but yeah, old guys, duplicates, just there's really no shortage of cards you can sell, honestly.
Right. I I I think I've said this before on this podcast, but we'll call this the spring. It's not the spring. It is very much
Hmm.
the winter here. It has been very cold and snowing the last couple of days. But I do see some spring cleaning in my future. I don't know why or what it is, but I have more duplicates than I thought I did.
Exactly. Everyone does. Everyone does.
It's kind of crazy. I mean, it makes sense, right? Because there's only a certain number of players, so
Yep.
duplicates are inevitable, and the chances of them are higher than you'd think. But it's kind of amazing how many duplicates I and I'm sure many other people have.
Yeah. Really good source of selling. Um, And so yeah, I think step one in the off season, look at the pieces that you want to trim, get rid of, players that change situations, maybe are getting older, because importantly, it sets you up for this next step, which is what pieces do you not have that you want to have? I know, Josh, I know this is not picking on you, but imagine you had that conversation with yourself about your NBA gallery in June of this year, where you said, "Hey, I don't have a champ.
Right.
Going to this next season, I want to make sure I have Giannis, a Jokic, someone very, very, very good." And you went into the season knowing that that was a piece you needed. Chances are you might have acted on that faster than if you didn't make that plan initially. So I think this is also a very important time to plan out which pieces or which cards you want to do, and I think also ask yourself how serious you want to be in season competitions this year, or whether you want to just play classic. Um, Looking at your baseball gallery, Josh, is there any pieces that you think like, do you have a champ that elite guy that you're missing, or is there another hole that you think you should fill?
Yeah, it's hard to translate. I don't think the MVP type style player is as necessary in MLB as it is for NBA. So it's a little bit
Hmm.
harder to look at your gallery at this point and be like, oh, I have a hole here. Because you're not playing cards in lineups currently. So it's a little
Right.
bit harder in MLB to look at your gallery and say, okay, I have a hole at corner infield for my rare whatever team. Um, I do think I'm lacking like that one, I guess we'll call it a star tier player. In rare, you could argue
Hmm.
that William Contreras was that last year. I don't know how sustainable that'll be this year. It's hard to say at this point. Um, and you have to figure too, you're predicting how a player's season is going to go. In the NBA, you could look at probably the top 10 players and say they're going to consistently be the top 10 players for a long
True.
time. You cannot do that in baseball. You absolutely cannot do that in baseball. You could probably look at guys like Aaron Judge, Juan Soto, players of that caliber, and be pretty confident that they're going to have a good year. But there's a chance that Juan Soto hits 250 for 30 home runs next year. There's a chance that Aaron Judge hits 30 home runs next year as well. There's a chance William Contreras hits 230 with 20 home runs next year. So it's a lot harder to predict for baseball compared to basketball.
And I think, and this kind of brings up the third thing that I think you should do is, and I think it's it's important in football, certainly, but honestly, I feel like in baseball, you see it more. Identifying those breakout players, the Ellie
Right,
De La Cruz, the Simeon from a couple years ago. I'm blanking on guys, that would make, Paul Skeens maybe, although everyone kind of, knew about him, but just
right.
guys that are, if you can nail someone's great season ahead of it, that in itself will be super valuable. If you know when the new cards drop, if okay, I'm gonna get like a new season of this guy and he's gonna put up numbers like Juan Soto, but maybe I can get him at a price that is, a fifth of Juan Soto's. Those are the type of guys that honestly, if you have a budget, that's how you can maximize it and have fun because you can say to yourself, I own the best like new player in baseball, and that's pretty cool. I I think I'm biased, obviously, in my belief that baseball guys have more breakouts or it's just more noticeable. But I definitely
Sure.
think that not only do guys go down, we've done our bust list every year, but
Right.
there are always those guys that no one's ever heard of or just get their first opportunity and they just burst onto the scene.
Absolutely. I think a safer bet is looking at the rookie class coming in for the next
Mm,
year. Now, you can't obviously invest in those cards now, but I think it's good to have those in mind when they start releasing cards. So you can kind of hopefully invest in some of those cards. But yeah, I think currently your best scouting is going to be looking at players that have moved teams,
yep,
um, especially ones that had a bad season last year. Sometimes all it takes is a move to a new team, and that sparks them to have a great season. So I think that's how I would go about scouting if you're looking to buy cards currently. Um, who's young and has the potential to keep up what they did last year, or who got traded or signed to a new team that, hopefully makes a big impact.
yep. Those are
Anthony
the
Santander on the
yep.
Blue Jays now. Like
Mm,
that he could be a great player. He was great on the Orioles, don't get me wrong,
yep,
but you never know. Maybe he hits 40 home runs this year.
yep.
Again, I think he hit something like that last year, but you never know.
A little closer to home, but actually kind of relevant for this discussion because I believe we both are managers of this player. Willie Adames, now on the
Yeah.
Giants, is fade him hitting at over at Oracle Park. Pretty deep
Yeah.
outfield. It's breezy
Tough.
there. Is he really
Tough.
gonna? How is he gonna cope from moving from a very very friendly ballpark in Milwaukee to the big stage in San Francisco? I don't know. Maybe that is a player that you a great example of someone that you might sell, or if you have multiple of him, maybe that's a guy that you, I don't know, sell high because, Giants certainly are buying at a very high value.
Devin Williams comes to mind.
Mm,
More pressure playing in New York. Fans get against you after he gives up the inevitable game-tying home run eventually sometime next season. And then that gets in your head. And he is a big personality, so will that clash in New York? I don't know. So that's another one. I mean, talking about Brewers, but yeah.
and
Will
guys like
Christian
that,
Walker go somewhere?
true. I was gonna say guys like that. We see this more in football prices where the guys on Bayern, Barca, Man City like just get that bump. I don't know if we
Right,
get it as much in Sorare MLB where if you get a a trade over to the Dodgers or to the Yankees, like do you get that Yankees bump, quote unquote? Uh,
right.
we might see that with Devin. I mean, he'll certainly get more eyeballs on him, and generally
Sure.
with any sort of player, the more people that are looking at them, the more their price is going to be. But yeah, so it's even every situation is a bit different. But I think you have to ask yourself at the end of the day, is this person going to put up more Sora points or less, and make your decision accordingly.
Yeah. Um, Two other things that came to mind, and we've talked about scouting before, so it might be a little redundant, but um, on the flip side of players who got traded or signed to a different
Mm,
team, that team still needs a player to fill whatever position they just
very
lost.
true.
So looking at potential fill-ins for the players that just got traded or signed to a different team, and then players coming back from injury, I have to
Trevor
make a
Story.
note of that. Trevor Story, yes. Mike Trout, yes. Yuri Perez, my tier
Oh my God.
one from 2 years ago, who has pitched one game in two
Poor
years.
kid, man.
Will he be
Poor
back?
kid.
Will I be able to use my rare Yuri Perez this
That
year?
is crazy. I hope so,
So
Josh.
I hope so too, for my own sanity.
That is crazy.
Yeah. I mean, it happens, right? You can't really predict injuries. So,
No, no. Yeah, but again, I think the more you do in the off season, it's obviously you're not setting your lineups. There's no training. We did have the club shop, stuff. We both benefited from that. But I
Mhm.
think if you're looking at your gallery and just not thinking about it, I think there are some steps you can take now to set yourself up, or at least make your life easier in March instead of trying to do everything all at once. I think if you did any of the things we talked about and applied it to your own gallery, I think you'll be thanking yourself certainly by the beginning of the season, hopefully after you win stuff.
Right. Um, yeah, absolutely. I
But
also think I think it's important to keep a small amount of liquidity in Sorare. If you're going to be a player who is truly competitive, you're going to have to buy cards throughout the season. So selling off
true.
cards now so that you have a little bit of a base going into the year, knowing that you'll probably have to buy some new cards if you want to be competitive. It's always a good idea.
So true. And uh, we also don't know this. We'll probably get a gameplay update soon. We've been having this discussion with minimal changes in mind for the game, but theoretically they could change up everything. I would guess that they wouldn't, unless they would give you more heads up. But so would love to keep us on our toes sometimes. So they
Right.
also could, produce some new competitions. But I don't think anything that we said will. I think it will all always apply regardless of what the competitions look like. But keep in mind, if there are new competitions that come out, you also will have to adjust your gallery ahead of that. And the people that do it faster, honestly, I think will the early bird gets the worm, as they say.
100%. Absolutely.
Boom.
Well, there you have it. Before we jump into a poto or maybe even a pickle, we're going to pass things on to Jacob,
Yes.
who's going to talk
Essence.
to you a little bit about essence and what he did with his essence and what that looks like. So, Jacob, off to you.
We interrupt this portion of the podcast to bring you breaking news. We are finally ready to use my So Rare Essence to craft a So Rare NBA card. It is finally time to do so, and I'm going to go over my strategies, why I waited until now to do so. And without further ado, let's get right into it. So, as you can see in my So Rare Essence vault here, I have 124 limited essence built up for the boxes that I've won from daily, from game weeks, from so on and so forth. I also hit 20 rare essence out of one limited box, so that was very interesting. So I do actually have 140 for essence. We also went over rare essence in a recent episode, and if it should be included in limited boxes. But not today's problem. Today we're going over why I'm crafting my card now. And I've actually been sitting on this 100, this tier 3 plus level for a little bit. It took me like 16 or 17 or so game weeks to get there. And it's going to vary. Obviously, it's going to vary between player how many essence you are earning at once. If you have better cards in your gallery, you're probably winning at least a few more boxes, earning a little bit more essence, even on average with the market credits and stuff. But hypothetically, if I earned 100 in about 17 game weeks, I could craft about three tier threes, hopefully, throughout the season, tier three pluses throughout the season. Um, Currently, when I'm recording this, the NBA season is pretty much right on halfway, right on halfway over. And you're like, well, that would only make sense for crafting two cards. Or why don't you wait until that tier two spot to get 250 and craft a tier two plus at the end of the season? Well, let me show you why. So let's get into, we click this little eye in the corner. It's going to give us the breakdowns for the levels of when you should craft your card. So this is the tier 4 plus level. If you only have 50 essence And I'm not sure if it's going to carry over from season to season. I don't see why it wouldn't. But if you're trying to gamble and go for a card, go for it. Use up that 50 essence. It's the easiest level to earn, and you can always earn 50 essence more. But if we jump on over to the tier 3 spot, it completely removes your chance at a tier 4, obviously. And you still have almost a 50% chance to get a tier 2 or above. Whereas in the tier 4 spot, you only have about a 15-16% chance to get a tier 2 or above. So, tier 3 is looking like a nice value play here. Sure, there's still a pretty good chance you're going to get a tier 3, but if you open a couple of these throughout the season, there's also a pretty good chance that you're going to get at least one of those above a tier 3. And of course, you can go ahead and use those cards in your your in-season teams to win some cash. But let's jump on over to the tier 2 plus category. And keep in mind, you're not just adding 50 essence here. It doesn't go 50, 100, and then 150 for the cost of how many essence you're going to use per player. It goes from 50 to 100 to 250. So you're going to need 2.5 times the amount of essence that you earned throughout the season to only grab one tier higher. So, of course, it's going to remove that 57% chance to get a tier 3 in the tier 2 level, but you have an 81.8% chance to get a tier 2. Your odds to get a tier 1 or above are sitting at 18.2%. And if we go to the tier 3 level, your odds of getting a tier 1 or above are sitting at about 11%. So you're not gaining too much more on that reward front. So the tier 3 level, for me, especially for how I have been earning essence this season, only makes sense to rip it. And I was saving it to rip it for an episode for the batting practice podcast, and obviously we're doing that right now. It's just worked out where our schedules have lined up in different ways, where we're doing a duo cast, a solo cast, an advertisement interruption, I guess you could call this, even though no one's getting paid for it. Well, I mean, there's a 2.2% chance I get a star tier here. We're not leaving this episode without crafting this card, don't get me wrong. But without going up too much higher, I mean, let's take a look at the other rewards, I guess. Tier 1 plus, the first level of Tier 1 is giving you a 2/3 chance, basically, of getting a Tier 1 and a 1/3 chance of getting a star tier. That's going to cost 400 essence, and then 500 essence ups your chance to pretty much 50-50 on getting a star or a Tier 1. If you are earning essence at like a 2 or 3 times the amount of rate that I am, you might want to wait until that 400 level. Like if you had 350 essence right now, I would recommend that you just wait and get that 400 and go for the tier 1. Of course, you're earning essence a lot faster than I am. Like I said, I wouldn't necessarily recommend, if you're earning essence like me, entering pretty decent amount of lineups, common, daily, and probably an average of 5 decent lineups that have a chance to win a reward every week. So, yeah, if you're entering competitions like that and you're at about how much essence I am, maybe go the route of this. If you've been unlucky, won some market credit, don't worry. Your essence days will come eventually. Win better rewards, dude. Just hit better boxes, bro. Nah, I'm kidding. So, yeah, that's pretty much about it when it comes to essence. It really depends. I'm going to go full Josh mode here. It really depends how much of a rate you are earning your essence at. But since I'm at 124 now limited essence, it makes sense for me to use this 100 level, this tier 3 plus level, to craft a card. So I've been talking in repeat, saying the same thing over and over and over again. Just craft the card, dude. Okay. Here we go. Tier 3, 124 essence, and I'm gonna use it. I'm gonna craft my card right now. Of course, no disappointment here if we get a tier 3, but hey, for the content, you want to see something crazy? No going back. They took my essence. Reveal my card. Serial number 299. Okay, United States. It's not Wemby. That's fine. Guard. We're not against that. Silence. Silence has fallen over the crowd as we get Aaron Nesmith from the Pacers. I am most certain that that is a tier 3, unfortunately. He averaged a do not play this entire season because he's been hurt since game week 4. At least he's ramping up from a fitness perspective, according to the news. You couldn't have done it for the content, man. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. At least his price is going up here, except public offer. He only sold for a few bucks. Hey, we're going to take it. I actually need a card level about this level to enter into competitions. I have my in-season cards here. I'll show you in my gallery. With Edie's a good level. Champagne's a good level. But then we get to Duran, Bridges. We got a Reeves somewhere down here, and Reeves is L10 is up to like 40? 40. And Desmond Bain, 41. So I don't have enough low-rated cards to enter in a contender because my cap is too high. So honestly, from a team building standpoint, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. And I do wish it was better in terms of tier level. But hey, he's young. He plays on a pretty decent team. And he fits into my team. So there you have it. Aaron Nesmith. Thanks to Josh and Andrew for letting me do this little special segment here. And I'm glad we went over a little explanation and how to do things, so and so forth when it comes to Essence. So let's send it back to the batting practice, boys. Thanks for listening.
He is over in Paris right now. Mr. Aaron Nesmith of the Indiana Pacers. He
Okay.
is a 18 average player, looking like a good underdog or contender guy, but he does have the potential to spike. I know Pacers have a lot of yeah, as the season goes on, I think they're going to be a competitive team, and in those games maybe where they're up by a lot, he's going to get minutes. So I like it.
Yeah. Sure.
Aaron Nesmith, let's send it.
Wow.
Okay, we got the
Oh.
East. Okay, is he on the Bucks?
Okay, he's short. Dude, it's AJ Green. Wait, yeah, guard forward. Yeah, it's AJ Green. Oh,
Oh shoot. Okay, Bulls. Someone
oh,
on the
look how
Bulls
close
then?
that was. Okay, higher. So he's like he's younger
23,
than
young.
25, and his number is like 24, 25.
A
Oh,
guard on the
Bulls.
Bulls. Is
Not the
Ao a
Pacers,
guard?
not the
He's a
Bucks.
center, right?
Who?
Ao Dosunmu? I forget how to say his name. Ayo.
There's
He might be a center.
I
I
couldn't
think
tell
he's a
you
big
to
man.
be honest with you.
Wait, yeah, send it. Send it. Send it. Sorare is a guard.
Oh, he's a
No.
guard.
Damn, that's such
Okay,
a good guess.
it's not the Bulls.
Pistons.
Is it
Is it
no?
Cade?
The Pistons aren't in the East, are they? Why do I
Yeah,
always
they would
get this
definitely be in the
so
East. Come
they're in the
on.
Central?
Come on. It's gotta be Pistons. It's Cade.
It's not Cade. Do you think it's
What?
Cade?
Why would it not be Cade? He's young.
I don't know.
He's younger than 25.
Wade Cunningham. Oh, it's
Oh,
not Cade.
okay.
Okay, Pistons. Come on, we can make it's
Duren.
Marcus Sasser. Isn't Sasser on the Pistons? Am I making that up?
You might be making that up, but send it.
Let me confirm that he's on the Pacers before I make myself look silly. Yeah, he's on the Pistons.
Okay,
Yeah.
send it. Oh,
Yes!
let's
Let's
go, bro.
go!
Let's go. Let's go.
There we go. We got one. We got him. Let's go.
Is he in the G League? Is that why they got him in the Players Association T?
I think it's because it's through the Players Association, like the
Do all
game
of the
is.
guys
I
list?
think so.
Oh, I've never noticed it. So
Yeah.
there we go.
I
Boom.
think
Let's go.
he's on the team. He's good. He's good. He's a rookie this year, isn't he?
That sounds right. I mean, yeah, he's 24. Old, a little older rookie.
Do we dare risk a pickle
Yeah, we
with
gotta
all
pickle
the
it up, man.
trades and signings that have happened
He was a rookie last year.
last
He
year?
is
Okay.
new season cards. He is not a rookie. You can get
What's
him
his
for
what's his average?
he's an 11.
Oh,
So,
well, okay.
bench
A little
guy.
lower than I thought it would have been, but
But there are situations. I know when Cade was out this year, he did put up a 37 in game week 11. So he
okay.
has that potential when asked of him. So any one of the Piston starters goes down, your Sassy's gonna come in.
Sasser. Sassy Sasser.
Yep, I like it. It's a good name.
Uh, do we
Or
go
maybe one of their
Willie
traded boys.
Adamas?
Yeah, Willie. Yeah,
Ugh, ugh. It just looks
I know
terrible.
it
Looks
does.
terrible.
Oh,
Okay.
wait.
Righty,
Does it mean
righty. So it could be NL
Central?
East or Central.
All right, let's get the Brewers out of the way.
Righty, righty. It's so
Can
obviously Brandon Woodruff.
All right.
Speaking of coming back from injury,
I would
it's
say he's
righty, the
lefty
lefty
righty.
batter.
Yeah. What
Uh,
Contreras?
is, isn't Contreras? Oh, I always forget that he's Venezuelan. That is actually a good guess. Okay. Oh, it is the Central though, not
Okay,
from
but
Venezuela.
not
So 28, right?
28. Okay, how
We
about
feel like
this
we have.
guy? He got signed to an extension by the Cubs today. John Birdie.
Oh, Bertie?
What?
No,
How do you spell his name? He literally got signed. Just try John.
John
Jon.
Bird.
B? What? Oh, maybe
Maybe they
because he
signed
got
him to
traded.
a minor league contract,
Yeah, maybe they did.
so he's just not in the game.
All right. Well, should we see if it's
Let's
probably
try Patrick Wisdom.
I like it. Wait, what?
Okay, also not in the game.
All right.
Dude, the
Well,
Cubs are trash.
Kyle Tuck, but I know
Tucker's a
he's lefty,
lefty.
but at least we can see if he's
We
on the
could get
Cubs.
28 out of the way too. Okay, it's not the Cubs.
Okay, good.
USA
Okay.
28. Okay.
And we
So
got
we got
the Blazers.
Pirates, we got Reds.
Could be Pirates.
We haven't got pitcher out of the way. Let's try and get a pitcher out of the way.
Okay.
Let's go with Graham Ashcraft.
I like it.
Oh, why is he a lefty, man? All
Well,
these
just
pitchers that are lefty hitters that don't
let's
hit.
Okay, he's on the Reds. There we go.
Oh, and it's a pitcher on the Reds. 28-year-old
Okay.
pitcher on the Reds. It's a righty. We play
Ooh.
the Reds.
It's not
Have the
Hunter Green.
Reds
No, Hunter
signed
Green's too young.
anybody?
Hunter Green is too young, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
25. He's everything but the right age. Let's see, current club. Cincinnati Reds. I have two Reds. Oh yeah. I just have Ashcraft and Hunter Green. Cincinnati Skyline Chili. It's not Joe Burrow.
Come on, we know this. Starting pitchers for the Reds. The Reds are just not good. That
Joey
doesn't help our
Votto.
cause. Joey Votto.
Brady Singer?
He's on the Reds?
Apparently. Oh, it's him.
Wasn't Brady Singer like on the Royals
He
or
was on the Royals. He goes to R named teams. R rated. He's R rated.
Oh, this is just a video. I hate that. I want to see his stats.
Yeah.
Okay, am I going
all of it-
crazy? Brady Singer was on the Okay.
Yeah.
That's tough. When was he signed to the Reds? I'm gonna be honest, I don't really remember that happening.
You don't remember, Josh?
Signing with Reds. Will this tell me? November 22nd. So
Yeah, it's
not
a while
that
ago,
long
man.
ago. Not
Very
what?
long
What?
ago.
2 months? Literally almost 2 months to the day. Well, there
You
you
know,
have it.
he was 9-13, 3.71 ERA.
Not
Hey,
not
is that the guy that's gonna have a bounce back on a new team though?
yeah. Yeah. Buy Singer.
Oh, I don't know, but that's pitching in Cincinnati. Not a good place. Not a good place.
All right. Well, I know more about basketball than baseball, so that's a problem. The offseason needs to end tomorrow, yesterday, actually. But
There
it's
we go.
only what, 38 days? That's not bad.
That's yeah, it's coming up very quick.
It's coming up quick. Get out there, scout your players, sell your players, and get ready for the new season because it'll be here in no time.
Want a little Brady Singer fun fact?
Let's hear it. To end the
You
pod.
you actually might have seen this clip. I forgot, did not realize it was him. It went viral on TikTok where he gave his parents an envelope for Christmas and he announced he was paying off all of their debt.
I did
And
see that.
they were rightly emotional and very thankful. So shout
There
out to
you
Brady
go.
Singer. He's a good guy.
All right. You heard it here first. Go buy your Reds Brady Singer cards.
Here we go. Maybe I will.
Well, there you have it. Thank you for listening to the podcast. Thank you for your support. As always, leave us a rating wherever you are listening. Go check out the socials, subscribe to the YouTube. And until next week, you just attended batting practice. Now you're ready to get in the game. Peace.
Peace.